What's going on, guys? Welcome to the R+D Movie Podcast. We are your hosts, DJ Gruber and Ryan Brower. And today, to start out this episode, we're going to be discussing with you Star Wars: A New Hope, the first Star Wars movie originally.
That's right, the original Star Wars movie. And as DJ said, this is the R+D Movie Podcast. That title is subject to change, and I'll probably put out a community post having you guys come up with some ideas potentially for like a different title. We're just kind of going with that one for now, as it's kind of a spoof off of like our wrestling podcast that we did together called the R+D Wrestling Podcast. So it is a little quick spoof on that, but that also is subject to change. Now, what I'm going to kind of be doing, what we're going to be doing here with you guys as we start out this episode is talking about sort of like what this podcast is going to be, some of our plans for it. And then we will, as DJ said, we're going to get into the first ever Star Wars movie back from 1977, that being A New Hope.
Oh, yeah. And we got some big things in store for you guys. In a way, we're changing directions now. We're going to be focusing on movies now. And we were both talking a couple weeks ago, and we both agreed with 2026 being a big year for new movies coming out, such as Avengers Doomsday, Spider-Man, and Odyssey, and so on. We figured let's jump on this opportunity right now and discuss some great movies.
Absolutely. And definitely this is a little bit of a change of a direction here for Sector for Nerds, in the fact that like we're going to be talking about content other than Star Wars content. Yes, of course, we're starting with a Star Wars movie because I'm a big Star Wars fan, but we are also going to broaden our horizons and talking about just a wide plethora of different movies here on the channel. Now, for anybody that watches my channel regularly for the Star Wars content, I just want to put out there for you guys right now, like the Star Wars content is not going anywhere. Like we're still doing the Clone Wars retro discussions each and every Monday. Once that series ends, we're going to be going straight into Rebels. 2026, we've got a couple of new Star Wars shows coming out as well that we're going to be talking about. So the content is not going anywhere, but we're changing up some of the content that we're doing over here for Sector for Nerds, and we're both very excited about it.
And some of the movies too, we're gonna like discuss, like some of the movies we grew up watching. Like I think we were gonna talk about Madagascar.
That was one of the top ones that we discussed, yeah, because like the Madagascar movies we're definitely obsessed with. But like, yeah, we're gonna talk about a whole like wide range of movies that, whether it be from our childhood like that, or maybe something like a 2000s Pixar movies, right? Like something like Cars or Toy Story, or one of the things that I definitely want to do on here as well is get into some of the original like Marvel Cinematic Universe movies, like the original Avengers movie, the Guardians of the Galaxy movies. Honestly, I mean, I want to talk about all the Avengers movies, to be honest, especially with Doomsday coming up. So I want to tackle like some DC movies as well, both animated and live action. So the sky is the limit here, you guys. Like I said before, we're both very excited about this. And yeah, man, we might even, it doesn't even have to be like nerd culture movies either. Like it could be, we could talk about horror movies if we really wanted to. We could talk about comedy movies. You know what I'm saying?
We could talk like Happy Gilmore. The new Happy Gilmore came out, Grown Ups, and like, bro, sky's the limit. We could talk about Here Comes the Boom, Dodgeball, like
we could talk about all of the classic Adam Sandler like comedy movies and stuff, because I know you and I both enjoy a lot of those as well. Now, as far as like how many episodes that we're going to be doing like per month, the goal is to do one episode to start. That can definitely change later. Maybe we can do some more depending on where things go. But the plan for now is we're just starting with one episode, and it is available here on YouTube specifically. Right now, we're not going to be on any other platforms. We're starting out here on YouTube. Again, that is something that is subject to change later. But as a starting point, this is what we're choosing to do.
Oh, yeah. And we're just going to get our feet wet here, and we're going to see how time goes as we keep moving on with this new direction going forward.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely happy to be doing this podcast. And dude, like how far I think you and I have both come here, like on this channel. Because I remember like when you first started out doing content here, you were doing what? Like it was the video game live streams, right? With Christopher?
With my brother? Oh my gosh. Yeah, it was Battlefront 2 when he was doing his live streams.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. So for those who don't know the history of my channel, who haven't, maybe you've only just recently joined or whatever, I think it was like a couple years ago, my brother was doing like a video game live stream each Friday, and he'd play like the Battlefront games. He'd play
Call of Duty.
like Call of Duty. He'd do like a lot of the first person like shooters and stuff. He'd have his friend Jacob on to do some of those videos. DJ would be on there. And I remember like it got to a point where I think like we were hanging out one day, and then I don't remember if it was like you asked me or if I asked you like, hey, would you be interested in doing like a Clone Wars video with me? And
I think you asked me.
I think I might have asked you. Yeah. And then I remember that first video that you and I did together, and I was just like, holy, like it was just instant chemistry, like between the two of us doing it. I was like, holy, like this is like the best like collab I've ever done, like at that up to that point with anybody before. And it was just like, dude, we got to do this again. And then, I mean, look at us now, like we're doing a freaking, podcast together. So another bit that we're going to do, we're not doing it today because like we figure like today is just going to be about the introduction of the podcast, what our plans are. But the way that we're probably going to open up future episodes of the podcast is talking about like current events in the movie news outlet and stuff, like whether it be plans for movies or like drama or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So you guys will have that to look forward to as well. Without any further ado, I think we gotta get into this movie here, DJ, the original Star Wars movie. Now it's interesting because I don't think I've ever made videos before talking about the original trilogy movies. Most of the
prequels.
Most of the content that I've done, it's like prequels, Clone Wars, like some Rebel stuff,
new trilogy,
very brief stuff on the new trilogy, and those are movies that we're definitely going to talk about because I had started my channel when The Rise of Skywalker, around the time that movie was being released in theaters, so near the tail end of that Disney movie run. So we definitely got to talk about those movies as well. But this one, you guys, oh man, all about a filmmaker with a bunch of crazy ideas that no one thought was ever going to work. And lo and behold, it became one of the biggest parts of nerd culture, like of all time. It's incredible.
For our generation, we weren't even born yet.
Yeah, man. Like, dude, freaking, yeah, like 1977. Neither of us were even thoughts at that point yet. You know what I'm saying? Like,
it's crazy. It really can't compare like to a 1977 movie because it's a classic, man. Like you wouldn't have think it was made in 1977, but the more you watch it, it's like, it's a classic and you can never go wrong with it, man. Like I can watch it like anytime, anywhere, and I would never get sick of it.
I think this movie, it has a lot of information in it, but it's like you watch it through and it feels seamless. Like the movie itself, I think, is about 2 hours long or a little over 2 hours long. And just it takes you on this adventure about these droids. There's a farm boy, a princess, a smuggler, and it just all of it flows together so seamlessly, in the way that they all come together to try and complete the big mission or whatever that ends up resulting in the destruction of the Death Star. It's incredible.
It's so incredible because it really hasn't been done before, where you can make this space adventure movie, and like you said too, like it was such a smooth movie too. Like you couldn't really think of a criticism for it because it's like so classic, and like there's nothing wrong from start to end. And to think the Star Wars universe wasn't even created yet at that point.
Yeah, I mean, this was the origins of it. I think, like, as far as where I rank this movie amongst other Star Wars movies, like, there's definitely other Star Wars movies that I like better than this one. I think to your point, though, there isn't much about this movie that I'd go like, oh, I would have changed this or I would have changed that. It's like, no, for what this movie was, it's perfect in that regard.
I could think of like 10 things that I could change with the poopy Jedi, but with the New Hope, I really cannot. I had to bring it up.
Yeah, no, for sure, dude. Hey, listen, you ain't gonna hear no complaints about me, taking shots at the sequel trilogy. You ain't gonna hear none of that here.
Not at all. I won't hold back either.
DJ and I are both very passionate Star Wars fans.
Oh,
So
we
it's
are.
like we have our like thoughts and opinions about things that have gone on in the universe, especially over this past decade. You guys can check it out in some of the videos on the channel here as well. It's like we talk about it on a consistent basis almost, it feels like.
Like, I can't remember a time when we're not talking about Star Wars, man. Like, every time we get together, there's always at least like 5 minutes or more just something about Star Wars.
Dude, yeah, even when we're not recording videos like this, it's like we'll just talk Star Wars because like that's how much we love it.
It's that good, man. Like, I can think of another TV series that I can talk as much about than more than Star Wars.
Yeah, man. And it goes like everything from that intro at the start of the movie, right? Like the 20th Century Fox logo into the Lucasfilm production logo, and then a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. Ba-da-da-da-da-da, and it gets into that main Star Wars theme, that iconic John Williams theme. And John Williams just freaking nails all of the themes in this movie. Like, I'll find myself humming around to some of them, like, you know, every now and again, or I'll be listening to them on the, what do you call it? Like, yeah, like Spotify or any like music apps and stuff. Like, next thing I'll start hearing the Cantina theme. We're like,
oh my god!
Like, even that, like, it sits in your head, man.
Bro, I can't wait to talk about Cantina, man. Bro, that's one of my favorite scenes all time in that movie.
Really? Okay.
Well, one of them, but that tune is stuck in my head, man. Like, it's on my top 50 songs on Spotify playlist, man. It's that good.
Yeah, man. And it starts out with this opening crawl as well, right? Like we get at the start of the movie, and it basically runs down everything that's going on in the movie. I have it written down here, everything that's said, but you know, it starts out with, it is a period of civil war. Rebel spaceships striking from a hidden base have won their first victory against the evil galactic empire. During the battle, Rebel spies managed to steal secret plans to the Empire's ultimate weapon, the Death Star, an armored space station with enough power to destroy an entire planet. Pursued by the Empire's sinister agents, Princess Leia races home aboard her starship, custodian of the stolen plans that can save her people and restore freedom to the galaxy.
Imagine telling this crowd when this movie came out that there would be a Rogue One to, you know, kind of explain the events to the New Hope.
Yeah. Dude, if there was one thing, like, people always ask me and stuff like, oh, if you'd ever time travel or whatever, what's the thing that you'd want to do? In all freaking honesty, the thing that I would want to do is time travel to 1977, be one of the first people to experience Star Wars, and just like get the feel of the crowd that's in there. Because I think the consensus that I get from a lot of people when talking about the people that went and saw that movie back in the day is like, no one knew what they were in for. It's like you'd see the trailer and stuff, whatever, but it's like you actually go to see it, and it was like this experience. And that's like the thing that you want most when you go and see a movie, is like the experience of it all, the thrill of it all, the adrenaline rush, all of it. And I feel like a lot of days, and this is something that we're definitely going to get into, the more episodes that we do and stuff. But I feel like the art of making movies and the art of telling a good story with great characters and great, development, I feel like a lot of times nowadays, like, that stuff is gone. And people,
it really is.
Yeah, like, it feels like we've sort of lost our way on like how to make movies and stuff. But maybe we can kind of tackle that in a different date.
They care more about the dough today.
Yeah, which ironically, more of that would come if you told a good story. But yeah, they've got their minds set on other things. But yeah, going back into this movie, everything, just even from like that opening scene, I remember watching as a kid, just being like in awe of what I was watching, right? Like the stormtroopers blasting their way onto the ship and shooting the rebels down. And then all of a sudden this, dude in a big black suit and helmet walks in. It's like, this dude looks scary. Like, who's this guy? And then the next thing you know, he's like choking out one of the rebel officers. It's like, what is going on right now?
Can't forget C-3PO's comedy walking, when he's like, we're doomed. They're heading for us. Oh my gosh, man. 3PO's, watching that movie again, it's like, man, 3PO was like a comedy show by himself, man.
Yeah, it's so interesting because like the start of this movie, it all centers on like 3PO and R2. Like it's following them around for the most part, right? And then eventually like they'll bring in Luke and you start following him around. Then you bring in Ben Kenobi. And it's like as the more that the movie goes on, the more you just add to this crew of people that the movie centers on.
And don't forget about Princess Leia, because she's like hiding and giving R2 the plans. And then 3PO's like, what are you doing? They're heading for us. And then, before Vader starts choking out the captain, they're moving to get to a pod and get out of there.
You talk about James Earl Jones voicing Darth Vader and just like how iconic that voice is and how like what he brought to it, like just the deepness to it. And it just like it suits him. And there's been a lot of people that have tried to replicate Vader over the years, but no one does it the way that James Earl Jones did. May he rest in peace.
Oh, rest in peace to him for sure. But like no one can have the power or like, the authority / touch that he put in that voice, because the moment he spoke a word, it's like, whoa, I'm glad I'm not that captain getting choked out,
Yeah, he's like, where are those transmissions you intercepted? What have you done with those plans? It's like, oh my gosh.
It's like, whoa, that's a booming voice that I don't want to mess with. And it's just like, he really showed like he's the main villain, and that this is going to be a long-term villain, not, like a short-term villain that's going to get killed off, by the end of the movie.
Yeah, sure. It's really interesting because I think this movie, it really does have two main villains. You've got Vader, and then you've also got Tarkin, because Tarkin is the one that's heading up the Death Star stuff, at least from what we see in this movie. And, he talks about when they finally bring him in for his first scene, he's talking about how the Emperor has like dissolved the Senate. The regional governors now have control over their territories. And it really is like setting up in this world, like what's going on. Like, okay, so there's a Senate, but the Senate's not active. It looks like now the Empire is going to use this weapon to just like as their way of just keeping everybody in line, right? Like, oh, hey, you guys step out of line. We're going to blow up your planet.
Oh, yeah. Oh, bro, that's another thing, too. We're going a bit off task here, but this is so cool.
No, you're good. You're good.
When they're all meeting, in the battle room, per se, like the meeting room.
Yep.
And, there's that one officer that's, so skeptic, he's afraid of, taking risks. Enter Tarkin and Vader, and it's like, whoa, okay, those are like the two leaders. You don't want to mess with the alpha dogs there, because Tarkin's, walking with authority. He's like, oh, we'll be fine, the Senate and everything else will be taken care of. I received word from the Emperor that the council is gone permanently. Tarkin's just sitting there calm and collected, He's like a pre-Thrawn, because he's just, calm when answering questions, And then, these officers, are bickering amongst one another. And then there's his lapdog, per se, Vader, in the background being like, don't be too proud of this technological structure you constructed. And then, he goes on to choke that guy. I'm like, oh, okay. I shouldn't mess with him or Tarkin.
And I think that's one of our first instances of like what the Force can do. Because like nobody had any concept of the Force when this movie came out. And like one of the first things you see is Vader just putting out his hand and the dude, next thing you know, the guy's just like holding his throat like he's being choked. The Force was like this crazy concept, right? And I remember hearing an interview recently, like someone that was like worked on the movie with George. He was saying something like that. George was thinking about taking the Force out of the movie like last minute because he didn't think that anybody was going to understand it. But then like people, I think, very luckily talked him back into it because it was like such a huge part of that movie and a huge part of that story.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that George wanted to take the Force out. That's a big part of what makes a Jedi today to us.
Absolutely. And as Obi-Wan tells Luke when we come across Obi-Wan, right? Like a Force is what gives a Jedi his power. It's an energy field. It surrounds us. It binds us.
Oh, bro, just imagine that movie with no Force. We're basically watching like, a Gladiator movie, but with lightsabers and in space.
Yeah, for sure. I think when it comes to the things that make Star Wars, it's the Force, it's lightsabers, it's the characters and the story. I don't think it's just one thing, but I think above all else, the Force is like the core of it. You take the core out of Star Wars. That's part of like my criticism with some of the projects that they've done recently is it's like they're not about the Force. And it's like, okay, so basically by not making it about the Force, you're removing the identity of Star Wars and what makes Star Wars Star Wars. And that's why I don't like some of the newer stuff that they've come out with.
Oh, we'll get there when we talk about those newer movies. Oh, we're gonna have a good discussion about that.
Yeah, not even just the movies, but like the television shows as well. You know what I'm saying?
The Obi-Wan series definitely had a problem with that. Anyways, moving forward, when we first see Luke, when 3PO and R2 get to the farm, it's like, oh, okay, this guy's probably going to be the lead guy, because, he has that, like, look in his eyes, like, he wants to do more, but, he's still on the farm with Uncle Owen. Oh, man, we're not seeing the prequels at first, man, I'm thinking Uncle Owen's, like, Mr. Scrooge, from Christmas Carol, because,
Yeah.
like, seriously, he's just like, we'll take these two droids, and, before R2 came in, that droid that broke down at first, he's just, like, what are you doing? Are you trying to, hustle me, whatever? Uncle Owen, was going to be that hard uncle dad. And then Amberu, was, the nice mom figure to him that he never had.
He stumbles across a recording from, we see Princess Leia, and he's like, whoa, who is she? She's beautiful. So it's like, okay, well, obviously he's going to be the one to go and rescue the princess, right? Rescue the good old damsel in distress.
Knight in shining armor, going to go on the Death Star.
Again, not, a little bit of foreshadowing, right? Like, obviously, some things will change there.
We're going to get to that.
Oh, we'll get to that. And then R2 ends up running away, right? Which is what ends up leading them to find this Obi-Wan Kenobi that we keep hearing about.
Oh, man.
She says in a message, like, help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi, you're my only hope. And then Luke goes to his aunt and uncle about it, and you see on their faces, like, what are they doing? What's he doing talking about him? What's this about?
And Brew mentions he's just like his father. And I'm like, oh, foreshadowing. And then Uncle Owen's like, I'll give it him next season. I need him for harvest season, whatever. And I'm just thinking.
Oh, right. Because he wants to go to the academy, right?
Yep, he wanted to be a pilot right away.
Yeah.
Because they did say this in the movie too. Biggs and his other friends went off to the academy already.
Yeah. And he was the one that was being left out because his uncle needed help on the farm. And one of the scenes that really personifies like the ideals that Luke had and like what he wanted to do, like when he goes out there and he's just staring at the twin suns or whatever, it's like he's looking to the horizon. He's looking to what he wants his life to be. He wants to get away from this farm. He wants to go and see the world. He wants to go and see the galaxy. He wants to be able to do all these different things, but it feels like he's stuck.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, he's very stuck. And he before they go in for the night, 3PO, is just like, R2's lost. I couldn't find him. And then they're about to go to him, but then Uncle Owen shouted, they're shutting the power down. And then they're like, we'll have to try in the morning. And then, that's getting better and better as we
I'll sometimes do that with my brother. Will do that. He'll be like, Ryan, I'm shutting the power down, and I'll just laugh.
Oh my gosh, that's funny.
If we're going to talk about like all the different like aliens and stuff that we get in this movie, right? Like the first, kind that we see are the Tusken Raiders, right? And the creatures that they ride, the Banthas. And then as time goes on, it's like you get all these different aliens. We see in the cantina scene as well. It's like it really expands the universe, right? It really is like building this giant lore for what would become the Star Wars universe, right? Like it's just simple scenes, but it's like, oh my gosh, it's like there's a whole wide range of different creatures out there. Like how big is this place? Like what are the stories that can be told? And turns out a lot of them.
Oh yeah, for sure. And like it just showed like how diverse Star Wars can become. Before even people knew what Star Wars would be or, what kind of universes and planets they would make in the prequels.
Yeah, man, for sure. And, getting into the scene that I want to talk about next with Obi-Wan and like his introduction, Luke was definitely, I'd say like my hero growing up, you know what I'm saying? Like that was the character. I was like, all right, Luke's, I like Luke. Luke's cool. But Obi-Wan Kenobi became like my favorite character in this whole enchilada. Just the start when you see him, like he's so wise and he has this old samurai, like super powerful warrior vibe about him.
He's like Sensei Splinter from the Turtles.
Yeah.
I will admit, even before Ewan McGregor played him in the prequels, I've always liked Obi-Wan too because you could tell he's been through a lot. And before the Clone Wars too, it's like, was this guy a great warrior back in his day? And this was before Obi-Wan was trolling became a thing.
The performance that Alec Guinness gave, which I think is so good. And it really got a point. Oh, go on.
Oh, so sorry, man. I couldn't help but not talk about it. Did you know that behind the scenes, Alec did not want to play Obi-Wan at first?
I do. I think I have heard stories about that before. Yes,
It's so funny to me because like he played a great Obi-Wan to start out the franchise,
he
and
did.
like hear him in the background be like, "Oh, I don't think the show was going anywhere or anything like that." I'm like, "Bro, you rocked that role," you know? Like it
Yeah.
just it amazes me how some of these actors, don't think they're gonna do good with these characters, but later on, become like the franchise pieces of this, movie.
Absolutely. I think the same could be said about like other actors and stuff as well, right? Like, I mean, you have a lot of people. I think the other side of it, though, too, is like, I think this movie also gives what it did was it gave people a perception about some of these actors, right? Like when you look at Mark Hamill, what do you think of? You think of Luke Skywalker. When you think of Carrie Fisher, it's Princess Leia. So I think what happened with a lot of these people when they tried to, because a lot of these people, their careers, especially in like the movie industry and stuff, like they turned out okay, but it was like, I think they always had that Star Wars stigma about them. I think with Harrison Ford, it was the same thing, but he felt like the one guy that actually broke out of that and was able to have like so many different roles that he's performed in over the years, right? Like it's not just Han Solo, it's Indiana Jones, it's you have all these different movies that he did like in the 2000s or whatever, right? And into the 2010s, and then even more recently he was the Red Hulk in the Marvel universe, right? So
Yeah.
he had all of these other things going on for him. Really, like I think Mark Hamill, he became more for like some of the voice acting stuff, right? Like people know him as the Joker, obviously.
Oh,
like
yeah.
one of the best Joker, of all time, in my opinion. Like he does the Joker so well. And then you also think of Ozai from Avatar: The Last Airbender, the main villain from that show. So, not saying that again, like not saying these people didn't have careers after Star Wars, but I think there was always that stigma about them, and it was something that Harrison Ford was very cognizant of and like wanted to try to avoid. And I think that's why he wanted to get killed off in Empire Strikes Back as well, is because he was like I don't want to just be known for this. I want to be able to do other things.
Oh yeah, for sure. And like it's crazy to think looking back too, like he was doing Star Wars and Indiana Jones too, in like that couple years, when they were both going on. Because like
when was Indiana Jones compared to Star Wars? That was it around that same time?
Lost Ark was made in 81, so like before Empire Strikes Back came in.
Oh, interesting. So yeah, that would have been like before Return of the Jedi. Wow. Okay. Yeah. So that the Indiana Jones movies in the 80s and stuff. Yeah. Harrison Ford, he had a couple like good decade or so of movies there.
Oh, 80s was defined by him because he did Star Wars, Return of the Jedi was 83, and his last Indiana Jones movie of the best trilogy for outside of Star Wars was 89, Last Crusade.
Last Crusade is my favorite Indiana Jones movie, that's for sure. And then I think Harrison did, he was known for American Graffiti, right? That series before he did Star Wars. And that's how I think George, like that was one of the first people that George brought on was Harrison Ford, because they had worked on American Graffiti together.
Oh yeah, and like even like when you mentioned too, he would go on to do other stuff too. Like he's known as the Blade Runner, during that time period too.
Yes,
and like he was in like Air Force One and like so many other movies in the '90s. But like that just comes to show, how Harrison Ford expanded himself as an actor and made such awesome movies after Star Wars too.
Heck yeah, man!
Absolutely, yeah, so awesome. But now back on track too. So we gotta talk about this scene now, the cantina scene.
Yes,
we get to see the Force in action too. When there's Imperial stormtroopers, camping out there, and they're like, "Let's see your identification code." And then Obi-Wan's like, "You do not have to see the identification. Move along." And then sure enough, the Imperial stormtrooper, is like, "Move along." I'm like, magic.
Yep. That was our first Jedi mind trick. He says the Force can have a strong influence on the weak mind. It just like, I remember like watching, you watch this movie and it's like, there's so much in there that it's like, okay, this is so much information. I'm like, there's gotta be so much more to this, man. Cause like, my gosh, like I remember watching this movie for the first time. Like this is how I got hooked on Star Wars. Like I was so in love with it. And it's like the lightsabers as well, right? Like we see him in the cantina and he gets into that fight with that one dude at the bar. And, the bartender's like, no blasters, no blasters. And Obi-Wan pulls out the saber and like cuts the dude's arm off. It's like, whoa, okay. Like we're getting to see the ancient weapons of these Jedi peoples in action here.
Mm-hmm. And the awesome Cantina song, bro. That's what defined a whole generation, honestly.
Dude, for real, man. That
top 50, man.
Oh, we could just go through the whole thing, but we'd be here all day.
Top 50 song. Top 50 song.
And this is where we're introduced to Han Solo and Chewbacca as well, right? Chewbacca the Wookiee, that was another crazy one. He didn't talk at all. He would always go like, oh, I can't do the Wookiee growl.
Before the fight came out, him and Obi-Wan are just having a conversation. I'm like, oh, okay, how can you speak to him? He's not speaking English. How are we having a conversation with him over there?
Yeah.
At first, when I saw the movie, it's like, oh, okay. And then, enters the man, the myth, the legend, Harrison Ford, Han Solo, he's entering, like a bad boy. He's like, I'm Captain of the Millennium Falcon. Chewie here tells me you're looking for a passage to the Alderaan system. And then, they go back and forth, like, how is the Falcon fast enough? How much are you looking for pay-wise? What's the cargo? Oh my gosh, bro. This quote would, carry into our generation too with the Solo movie. The Falcon made the run in less than 12 parsecs?
12 parsecs. Made the Kessel run in less than 12 parsecs. I was like, okay, that must be a fast ship then, I'm going to assume.
And then, Luke, being young and youth and neglectful as he is, he's like, I can fly that ship myself. I don't have to sit here and listen to this. And then Obi-Wan's like, we can pay you 2,000 now plus 15 when we reach Alderaan. And I'm thinking, they do not have that money. That's a big gamble there, buddy.
They definitely were going to rely on Bail Organa and his money to help pay for that ride. Is 100% what they were going to do. But yeah, the original price that Han gave them was 10,000 all in advance. And he goes, yeah, we can pay you 2,000 right now because they're going to go and sell Luke's speeder plus 15 when they reach Alderaan. So, and Han's like, oh my gosh, like I can pay off my debts or whatever. This is great. These guys are desperate. Let's go get the ship ready. Let's get this thing on the road.
And then Greedo comes in. Oh, bruh. Han Solo's, I don't know why Harrison Ford wasn't in Pirates of the Caribbean or something. That man could have been a pirate, man. Like, seriously, the way he's just sitting there, casually getting his blaster ready. When Greedo's just like saying like how Jabba will take your ship and all that. And then, like the mano a mano style, he just shoots him. I'm like,
and Han shoots first.
Mm-hmm. And I'm like, wow, he's dead. And then Han Solo casually just throws some money to the bartender. He's like, sorry about the mess. And I'm like, whoa, okay, this ain't your normal bad boy here. This is a guy that knows style and,
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Like, seriously, man. Bruh, he was good. And then, oh, bro, Jabba the Hutt's intro, man. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, so originally this scene wasn't, as far as I know, this scene wasn't in the original cut of the movie. I think they added this, like, after when they went back and did the installments in the theaters back in the late 90s before they brought out the Phantom Menace, because this is where they also have Boba Fett in this scene. And as far as I know, Boba Fett was not originally introduced until the holiday special, I think, came first, which is where they originally showed Boba Fett. And then he was in The Empire Strikes Back, and he had like a semi, heavy presence in that movie in terms of like the later half of it. So as far as I know, that was like his introduction. So then this scene here, like they show him at the very end, like they show him looking at the camera like, hey, this guy's here. But like, I think that was added later.
Oh, yeah. Like, at first, it wasn't Jabba. It was like, some person. And it's like, okay. But now, when they did make it and all, it's like, okay, Jabba, is this gangster alien, And then, you don't see it at the moment, but like Boba Fett's part of his crew too. And it's like, that man might play in the future franchise. He may have a role later on.
Yeah, he might have a big presence, might become a beloved character for sure. Maybe. But yeah, man, I love when Han even looks at him. Like, it's just funny when Han is looking over at this hut, this giant slug, and he goes, Jabba, you're a wonderful human being. Like,
yeah.
It's just the irony of it.
Yep. And then when Jabba's saying like how if you don't pay me, I'll put a bounty on your head so high you won't even be able to go to another planet. And it's just like
Yeah.
how deep in debt is this man? Like, yes, he's a bad boy cowboy pirate or whatever, but how bad is he in debt, man? Like, did he not pay his dues in time, or
Well, from what I got out of it, it sounds like the cargo that he was delivering, right? Like he had to lose. He was being chased down by an Imperial cruiser or whatever, and he had to drop his cargo or whatever because he got boarded and he didn't have a choice or whatever. That was the whole thing that he kept saying to like Greedo and to Jabba. So I think he just owes him for the lost cargo that he would have had to, whatever the amount that would have been is what he owes them.
And you can tell early on too, Han's not the guy that's gonna get his hands dirty. He's gonna try and look for a shortcut too. So it's like, how is he gonna pay him off? We'll find out later on in the movies.
Yeah, for sure. And then you got Obi-Wan going like, if a ship's as fast as his boasting, we ought to do well here.
Oh, bro. And then the troopers find Solo, and they're having this like hell like.
Yeah.
Oh, bro, that scene was epic because we get to see the Falcon in action for the first time. And then, Han and Chewie, are like, trying to not be stressed out. And they're like, okay, we have an Imperial cruiser on our tail. And then, oh my gosh, young Luke Skywalker, he can't learn when to shut his mouth, can he?
No, he doesn't. He just is like constantly like complaining about something, always like whiny about something that's going on.
And then, Harrison Ford, being the grandpa / daddy, he's like, shut your mouth, kid, or I'll throw you out myself. And then they do escape, and then oh man, we get to the Death Star, and like before they escaped Tatooine, Tarkin's talking with his other officers and Vader, and he's like, we should bring the princess and make an example of this Death Star before we eliminate her, because then they get to the planet Alderaan. Oh my gosh, man, this thing was funny to watch at first because it's like okay, they're gonna blow it up obviously, but how are they gonna do it? And then Leia and Tarkin have a friendly little banter, of like how I smelled your foul stench when I was brought on board. Oh my gosh, and
very snippy.
Oh yeah, and then Leia was saying like how I expect you to hold Vader's leash. I'm like, so Vader is his lapdog.
Right. Yeah, and so Tarkin, like he gets all up in her face and stuff too. Like, I grow tired of asking, where is the rebel base? Because they tried to use the mind probe on her earlier in the movie. That clearly didn't work. I think it is a little bit interesting though, like with a little bit of extra lore that they've added into Star Wars, like in Rebels. Remember that one scene where they try to get Kanan with the mind probe, and I think it was like the Grand Inquisitor says, "You're no doubt unaware that the Jedi are trained to resist mind probes." I think that's interesting considering like what Leia ends up, like what we find out about her later. It's like, okay, like I can now understand how she resisted the probe, like how she was able to not get tricked by it.
I will admit, at first watching it, I'm like, okay, why did she resist it at first? But like you said too, when you go back and watch it, it's like, oh, that makes more sense now because she was a Jedi. But at first, I'm thinking she must be a strong individual and probably got trained at Alderaan.
Yeah. So she says that the rebels are on Dantooine, but Tarkin goes, he does the iconic Tarkin line, "Continue with the operation. You may fire when ready." And then he goes, "You're far too trusting. Dantooine is too remote. Dantooine is too remote to make an effective strategy, make an effective test. But don't worry, we will deal with your rebel friends soon enough." And then proceeds to destroy Alderaan.
Oh my gosh! And then seeing Leia, emotionally being like, "Oh no, I just killed our home world." And then when they do shoot the Death Star, it's cool to see beforehand, all the Imperial troopers, getting the Death Star ready to go.
Yeah.
And then, when the blast does go off, it's like, oh, okay, this is a real deal now. We shouldn't, take it as a joke now. We should take care of our business, guys, on the Millennium Falcon, hint, hint.
And this is another scene, like right after this is where we see Obi-Wan just like, oh my gosh, and he has to go sit down. And Luke's like, "Are you all right? Like, what's wrong?" And Obi-Wan goes like, "I felt a great disturbance in the Force, as if millions of voices suddenly cried out in terror and they were suddenly silenced. I feel something terrible has happened." Like, it's again, another ability with the Force. Like, again, these are all common things that we all know about the Force today, but like this is our introduction to it. So it's like we've got the mind trick, we've got the force choke, we've got the ability to sense that something terrible, something tragic had just happened. Like it's all crazy stuff.
Bro, this whole like scene on the ship, in like their break room per se, when they're in
Yeah.
hyperspace, it really explains a lot too, because Obi-Wan's trying to teach Luke, the ways of being a Jedi and all that. And like any starter, Luke's failing miserably, and it's kind of funny watching him fail. And then Obi-Wan's like telling him key things like, remember, a Jedi can feel the Force flowing through him. And then Han Solo just comes in casually being like, yeah, guys, we escaped, don't let anyone think me at once. And then, when Luke is getting he's failing miserably at the training, he's like, Jedi, he's basically saying like how Jedi are stupid in a way.
Hokey religions and ancient weapons are no match for a good blaster at your side.
Yep. And then while they're all, bantering and all that, Chewie and the droids are playing this game, and oh my gosh, man.
Didjuric it's called, right? I think it's called Didjuric, I think.
Yeah. Yep. And 3PO's like trying to tell R2, be careful here. When R2's just being calm like he usually is, and he beats Chewbacca, and then Chewie just gets all mad, and then 3PO's like, he made a fair move. Screaming about it doesn't help. And then, Han's telling them, like, you don't mess with a Wookiee when you beat them. And then 3PO, oh my gosh. Another iconic quote. He's like, I suggest a new strategy, R2. Let the Wookiee win.
Shout out Anthony Daniels, man. He was great at 3PO. Like that's another iconic. I mean, all the roles from that like original trilogy are iconic at this point. But like, and everybody nailed it. This is a timeless movie.
Oh yeah. And then like next thing you know, they get out of hyperspace, and then Alderman's gone, and then everyone's out there by the main pilot and all that, and they're like, "What happened to the system? It's gone." And then everyone's like, "Did a ship do it?" No, ship's too small to do it. And then they see the big moon up there, and then Obi-Wan's like, that's no moon. That's a space station. And then everyone, is getting goosebumps and chills like, we should turn around and get out of here.
Yeah, and they can't because it's like, they're caught in a tractor beam. Han says he's like, I'm at full power right now. It's doing nothing. I'm going to have to shut down. And Obi-Wan, one of his iconic lines too, he goes, you can't win, but there are alternatives to fighting.
And like I forgot to mention this earlier too, but the music almost also made the movie too, because you hear the drums and the forte coming up too, and it's like, yeah, they're gonna be in a fight here, and
yeah,
will they make it out alive or will they not?
One of the things that I really enjoyed as well, Vader, he goes like, I sense something, a presence I haven't felt since, and then he walks away. And it's interesting, right? Because we get earlier on in the movie that Darth Vader was Obi-Wan's pupil. Like he was his apprentice. So he's in that moment, it's like, again, using the Force, right? He can sense the presence of that familiar person that used to be in his life a lot more.
Mm-hmm. And then we get into the mission, a scanning crew checks out on the Falcon. Everyone's hiding in the, down below. And then they're making their plan, to be like, okay, what are we going to do here? And then sure enough, they become stormtroopers. And I'm like, First time seeing it, I'm like, okay, they're cooking here. And then next thing you know, they're, in this room where they're trying to find the princess. Oh my gosh, man. Another thing of why the Force is important, because, Obi-Wan is going to confront Vader at some point. Before he leaves, he tells Luke, the Force will be with you always.
It's almost like he knew in that moment when he looks out. It felt very much like Obi-Wan knew that this was going to be the last time that he would ever speak with Luke like this. And that's why he said what he said, right? Like, the Force will be with you always. Luke doesn't realize it in that moment, but I think Obi-Wan does, because he says, your destiny is on a different path than mine. So, yeah, it was like you watched through that the first time, and then you go back and watch it again later, and it's like he knew. He knew what he was going to be doing.
And you could tell, like, there was a connection between him and Vader somehow, which we don't know at the moment, but you can tell, like, in their facial expressions and voice, it's like, yeah, they have a connection, but we just don't know yet.
I want to talk about, so the scene that I want to talk about right now is actually my favorite scene in the whole movie, and that's when they go to the prison, like guns a-blazing or whatever up there, and they're like taking out all the cameras. Yeah, they're like, where are you taking this thing? Because they're making it look like Chewbacca's their prisoner, and they're like, prisoner transfer, subblock 1138. Oh, I wasn't notified. I'll have to clear it. And Chewbacca goes crazy. They're like, look out, he's loose. And then they all just start shooting everything. Like, oh, I love it in the music too. Oh, it's great.
Bro, not gonna lie, that is something that me and your brother would do with Nerf guns, just like go guns and blazing, bro.
Yeah,
Oh my.
right. Like we could recreate that. Yeah, let's just get a couple cameras and we'll start Nerf guns and we'll just start shooting everything. Yeah.
No,
Oh
I'm
my
not
gosh.
gonna. I enjoyed that scene way too much than I should because after they go guns and blazing, they're like, okay, there's trouble up here. We're coming up, and then Han Solo's like, negative, negative. You don't need to come up here. And then they're like, what's your identification code? And then Han Solo shoots it, like typical Han. Oh my gosh! And he's like, that was bad enough, anyways. Luke, hurry, we got company. And then, oh my gosh, the next quote, man, it's awesome.
Did you know that the quote that Luke says before they go up there where he says, I can't see a thing in this helmet, that was like a compromised line? That was like Mark Hamill just like actually saying that he couldn't see anything in the helmet and they decided to keep that in there?
Yeah, I can imagine, man, because those were not easy costumes back then.
Yeah, oh my gosh. Dude, Anthony Daniels must have been sweating up a storm in that 3PO outfit all day long. Like, especially in the desert scenes. Oh my gosh.
Imagine Chewbacca, man. Like, Peter had to be in that furry costume.
Yeah, man, for sure.
That's just funny to look back upon. But yeah, we get to see Luke and Leia interact for the first time too, and then Leia's like, "Are you a little big to be a stormtrooper?" And then Luke's like, "Huh?" And then Luke's like, "I'm here to rescue you. I'm here with Ben Kenobi and the droids." Oh my gosh, bro, guns ablazing again. The troopers come, and then Han Solo yells at Chewie, "Get behind me!" And then guns ablazing.
And then it's like they have to, the funny thing about this, I said before, like, oh, it's, Princess Leia is the whole damsel in distress thing, but like, really she proves otherwise. This isn't a normal like Disney movie where the prince rescues the princess or whatever, right? And it's like, oh, I'm waiting to be rescued, like, oh, you saved me or whatever. Leia's kind of the one that ends up saving them because she's like, give me the blaster, and then like shoots a hole in the garbage chute. Like, somebody's got to save our skins right now since y'all don't know what you're doing. Go into the garbage chute.
Oh my gosh. And when Han Solo, beaks back with the group, it's like, this is going to be like, some ragtag team, that just got together on the Death Star. And then, you see Leia and Han banter. And I'm like, okay. When I first watched it, I'm like, there is no way these two are going to date because, they're just, bickering at each other back and forth. And then, they're in.
Sometimes that's how it works, man. It's like the people that like bicker with each other the most, they end up liking each other in the end because of it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
oh yeah. And then when they get to the trash chute, everyone's yelling at each other, saying like, "That's your fault. This is your fault. How's this my fault?" And then they hear a monster, and the garbage getting disposed. It's like, okay, we can lay the bickering aside. Let's get out of here. Oh my gosh, bro! When you see the one creature come out, with one eye, I'm like, I don't want to know what that creature is, but let's get out of here. And then, sure enough, Luke is taken in the water. And then, oh my gosh. And then, somehow Luke got saved. I would like to know where the creature would lived in that trash composite, man. Like, bro.
Yeah.
It's so small when you look at it. It's just like, where would Luke have gone anyway? Because he probably would have been smashed anyway.
I think it must have gotten damaged or whatever because Han started shooting it, right? So he must have just like swam away or something. Like it tried to bring down Luke, but he was too hurt, so he just let go of him or something.
Yeah, but then again, you heard the walls starting to come in, and then Han Solo said, "I got a bad feeling about this." And then
an iconic Star Wars line.
Another iconic one, and then everyone's just trying to push against the wall, and then Luke is trying to make a plea to 3PO and be like, 3PO, while oh my gosh, man, C-3PO is just a legend, man, because troopers come and see the droids, and then 3PO's like, oh no, look over there, the rebels are over there, and then they get away, and then 3PO picks up his mic and is like, how's it going, everyone? And then Luke is like, dude, we need you right now, we need you. He's like about to bite his head off in a way.
Yeah.
3PO and R2 come in for the clutch last minute, and then everyone's, screaming in cheers when 3PO's like, we failed them, R2, we failed them. He's a legend, man. I'm telling you, I love 3PO.
They're all dying, man. It's all my fault.
I love 3PO, man. Like, seriously, watching this movie again, 3PO is like the Obi-Wan in the prequels for this movie.
Yeah. No, I hear you, man. I hear you. 3PO is the comedy here, for sure.
And then, when everyone is, trying to get out of the costumes and all that, they hear the monster again, and then Han Solo's just shooting it, like, yeah, here we go.
Yeah. Do you remember the scene when the stormtroopers walk in to go where 3PO and R2 were hiding? Do you see the one that, like, bonks his head or whatever? Do you know what I'm talking about there?
Oh my gosh, I couldn't stop laughing watching
Yeah.
that again.
I mean, I found that like years late, obviously like a long time later, because I just never paid enough attention to it. But then when someone showed me that, I died laughing. I was like, that's the funniest thing.
I couldn't stop laughing, man. That whole scene is just comedy gold for Star Wars.
Yeah, for sure. Sorry, I cut you off there. What were you saying?
Just that, they're gonna be going guns a-blazing again, splitting up, and then
Yeah.
we see throughout this process too, Obi-Wan, is trying to get to Vader somehow.
Well, he's trying to disarm the tractor. He's not trying to get to Vader. He's trying to disarm the tractor beam for
Yes.
the Falcon.
But Vader also fuels him in the Force too, so in a way, he's
Yes.
trying to take care of his friends, but also, lead Vader to him, like creating a diversion in a way.
Yes, he's buying time for he's trying to lead him away from Luke and the others.
Mm-hmm. And then, when everyone's, trying to get to the Falcon, you see Obi-Wan in a Jedi hood with Vader sitting there waiting for him. And it's like, you want to talk about this, man? Because this scene is just epic, man.
The kids today would call this aura. Well, like when Vader walks forward.
OG aura, yep.
Darth Vader, he walks forward with his saber, and then Obi-Wan turns on his, and it's like, wait, they both got him. We're gonna see like an old school style Jedi fight or whatever, right? Like the way that the Jedi would have fought back in the days of the Clone Wars or whatever. And Vader goes, "I've been waiting for you, Obi-Wan. We meet again at last. The circle is now complete. When I left you, I was but the learner. Now I am the master." He goes, "You're only a master of evil, Darth." And they start fighting with their sabers. And dude, when I was 6 years old, man, or however old I was when I watched this for the first time, I thought this was the freaking coolest thing. Like this is when it comes to like my nerd, how I become like a nerd for Star Wars and stuff. Like the whole idea of lightsabers and the clashing and the vroom vroom when they clash or whatever, like, dude, I love that so much,
bro. I love that scene too. Like, I remember picking up my lightsaber, and like trying to follow the choreography as best I could.
Yeah, man, absolutely. I do the same thing.
I love that stuff. And then oh my gosh, that scene is what made my childhood almost before the prequels came.
Heck yeah, man. Heck yeah. Yeah, because when you go and you start watching the prequel fights, and of course, right, like you've got the Duel of the Fates, you've got Battle of the Heroes, like these massive lightsaber fights, and then you go back and watch this one, it's like, okay, this one's like really slow and like methodical, but at the time, man, like this was the thing. This was so cool to me.
Oh yeah, and then after they're fighting and bickering like master and apprentice before we even knew about it, another iconic Han line when they're about to get to the Falcon, he's like, "Can we just leave this party?"
Yeah.
And then they're about to go to the ship, and Obi-Wan and Vader bring out the fight to where the troopers come and help Vader. And then next thing you know, everyone's like trying to get to the Falcon as fast as they can. Luke Skywalker, man, when will this man get like an extra Y chromosome or something, man? I swear. Yeah, you heard me. Because he's just sitting there like, Ben, what are you doing? And then and then Obi-Wan's just standing there, giving that little smile, like, "Yep, it's time." And sure enough, Vader kills them, and then Luke just yells, "No!" And then next thing you know, the stormtroopers are like, "Alert, alert! They're escaping!" And then
I love that the stormtroopers turn around and start shooting. Like Luke's just standing there. Han's immediately shooting at them, and it takes like a good 5 seconds for Luke to finally like pull up his blaster and start like opening fire on these guys.
I'm telling you, man, he did not have common sense in this scene. Like, bro, you're just in there. You could have gotten shot or killed, bro. You were the future of the Jedi.
Yeah, man. Oh, he doesn't realize it yet, but yeah, for sure. I mean, you think about it as well, right? Like Luke's just a farm boy at this point. So like all he obviously knows, like, he's become a pilot and stuff like that, but like he's still young. He's still trying to figure his way out in the galaxy and stuff. So he doesn't have like that understanding of things yet, I guess, Like how old would he have been? He would have been like 19 or 20, right?
Yeah, Mark Hamill was really young, so probably around that age.
Yeah, it would have had to have been. I'm just trying to think of like the timeline of events. But yeah, he would have had to at least spend like 19 or 20 when, as like character-wise when he was, at this point. But yeah, man, so he's still trying to figure that all out.
And then Han's like yelling at him like, "Shoot the door, kid." And he shoots the door. And I'm like thankful that he did, because you see Vader and his reinforcements coming out. It's like, "Oh no, we don't need this now. We don't need this now."
And all of a
Then
sudden you just hear like, "Run, Luke, run."
and then next thing you know, they escape. Oh, bro, that was the whole Death Star's at sequence, man. That was a really good scene, honestly.
Yeah, everything from them landing on the Death Star to them escaping, yeah, is such a great part of this movie.
But then to add tension, Vader goes back to Tarkin, and it's like, did they escape? Is the tractor beam on? And I'm like, no.
Another thing that I really love is the scene where they're escaping and they have to go up against the TIE fighters. That theme, the I love that. I love it.
Another iconic Han Solo quote here. When Luke shoots his first TIE, he's like, "Great kid, don't get cocky."
Yeah, that's right. I remember that. That's a good one.
And then, like, they did shoot off the TIE fighters, and, everyone's celebrating, like, yippee, we did it! But then, Princess Leia, is telling the crew, like, they probably put a tractor beam on us. Yeah. And then it's like, oh, I didn't think of that at first, but, that's a genius move on their part of the Empire. Oh, bro, this banter between this group, you just know that it's going to be a great trilogy at first, because, Princess Leia and Han are bickering, about this and that, and man, he's just saying like how he's in it for the money, and then Princess Leia is telling Luke, you should be more careful of who you're friends with, something like that.
Yeah.
And then before all the family history and all that, Han and Luke are talking to one another.
I love this. Yes, I love what you're about to talk about here. Yes, this part's funny.
Han Solo's like, "You think a princess like her would go for someone like me?" And then Luke right away is like, "Nope." Oh.
And Han just starts laughing like he knows what he's doing. He's just messing with him, man. Like, it's great.
And this was before the family history was out.
Right, of course. And like Han even looked back to like, okay, I just got to make sure that Leia's gone away. Yeah, I mean, she's got a lot of spirit. I don't know. What do you think, kid? Like, you think a princess and a guy like me? No.
Bro, you could just tell watching this for the first time, that's going to be a fun group to watch.
Dude, for real, bro. For real. This is such a great assortment of characters. I love it.
And then we get to, Yavin 4 for the first time.
Yes.
Oh, bro.
I mean, that place has had so much significance now in Star Wars as, like, the years have gone on. They've put it in, like, more and more stuff.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I can't help but keep thinking of how A New Hope should have ended, when they get the Death Star plans, and the general's like saying, all because of Princess Leia, the Empire's coming here and all this and that. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, if Leia knew they were being tracked, why would they just go to their base? I feel like that was kind of a dumb thing to do.
I can't help but keep thinking of that episode, man, because it just makes me laugh and just think like, oh my gosh.
Here's the other thing too. Why didn't the Death Star... could they not have just blown up Yavin and that would have given them like a clear shot of the rebel moon? Okay, guys, well, we got the planet. Now we just got to blow up the moon. It'll take us an extra minute or so, but we got it.
Oh my gosh. If you would have thought of that, yeah. But
you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah.
But anyways, we're getting to the scene, where they're making their battle plans. Typical rookie Luke is like thinking, oh yeah, I can blow up this Death Star. It's, just like on the farm, And I'm just thinking to myself, Luke, please shut up.
It'll be like old times, Luke. They'll never stop us when he starts talking to Biggs or whatever.
Oh, when they reunite with each other?
Yeah.
I'm like, that's who Biggs is. Okay.
Yeah.
They're like talking about how R2's been through a lot, and then Luke's like, no one else I want on my side. And it's just like,
yeah, man.
Good
yeah, because they've been through, they're on the journey together, they're on the hero's journey together. I also really like the scene when Han is about to go away, like he gets his money and Luke's like, all right, so that's it. You just got your reward and you're leaving. And Han's like, yeah, I mean, you don't think I'd be foolish enough to stick around here, would you? And he offers the invitation to Luke, like, dude, why don't you come with us? Like, you're good in a fight. We could use you. Like, I think Han does care about Luke. Like, I think through this experience that they've had together, this journey, again, the hero's journey, right? Like, he's like, no, I mean, this Luke's a good dude. Like, yeah, why don't you just come with us, man? And Luke's like, no, man, like, come on, you see what these people are about to go up against. Like, they could use a good pilot like you. You're turning your back on them.
Oh my gosh, bro. Top two bromances in that sequel trilogy, it's Han and Luke and R2.
I think also, for real, dude, and I think also to add to that as well, I think when Han says, may the force be with you, I think he's trying to be genuine. Like, some might take that as like him maybe like you might think like, oh, maybe he's making fun of Luke or whatever, but it's like, no, I think he's just like, hey, we're cool. I get you're mad at me, but like, we're good. Like, I get it. It's all good. I don't got anything against you.
Oh yeah, for sure. And you could tell he cared, but he was just being, the difficult bad boy that he is. They're about to go in and fight the Death Star pretty much, and it's just like, okay, they're pretty much going against their doom here, How are they going to do it? And sure enough, there's like, guns and blazing again, all these like different cannons are shooting and all that, and next thing you know, it's just like, we're flying right into enemy territory. And then, oh my gosh, bro, in the Death Star, when Vader's getting ready to go out there, it's like most of the fighters are out there. Come with me. It's just like, okay, Vader's gonna have some play in this ending here. It's gonna be a crazy showdown.
Yeah, and then eventually Vader, we see Vader's piloting skills, right? Like he's easily shooting down all of these rebel X-wings and stuff.
Oh my gosh, another iconic quote, man. When the Y bombers go in, and try to take out the Death Star, Vader just comes in and takes out one at a time, and then there's a stay on target. We're too close.
Yeah, stay on target. I love that.
Oh my gosh,
I'm not gonna lie. For a moment, when you said iconic lines in like the space scene, I thought you were gonna go cover me, Porkins.
I was gonna get there, but I love the stay on target more.
That one's better. I agree. Stay on target is better, but I don't know why I thought you were gonna go to Porkins. But yeah, that works too.
And the other one is like the guns. They have stopped, and I'm like, well, no, duh. The biggest bad villain came in and is about to take you all out.
Yeah, it's like, okay, they stopped shooting for a reason. It's because here comes Vader.
It's not like they're gonna, let you, destroy the Death Star right away.
Yeah, and I loved the scene too where like Tarkin's like super confident or whatever, because his advisor comes up to him. He's like, "We've analyzed their attacks, sir. There is a danger. Should I have your ship standing by?" He's like, "Evacuate in our moment of triumph?" Like, bro, you are seriously overestimating their chances.
Oh my gosh, bro. Tarkin was he had like that feeling like, okay, I am not losing to a bunch of rebels here. I will stay on my ship and celebrate in victory.
So eventually Red Leader ends up dying, right? So like they had like Red Leader and they had Gold Leader. Both of them end up dying, and so then Luke is kind of the one that takes charge of the situation, like, all right, guys, we're going to go in for our attack run or whatever, and they start following behind him. You've got, like, Luke there's Biggs, and then there's this other pilot, Wedge, who saves him earlier on in the fight.
And Wedge was not, if you think of it, Wedge was the only other guy besides Luke that did not get destroyed by Vader.
Yep. And it's funny, too, because I remember, like, watching through the original trilogy movies, and because obviously I would have seen through these movies so many times as a kid, and I remember putting together, like, wait, this Wedge guy is in, like, every single movie here. He's on Yavin, he's on Hoth, and he's at Endor. I was like, oh, that's cool.
And he had, like, a smaller role, he was more like a cameo.
Yes, he was yeah, I don't know if it necessarily cameo is the right word, but he was a side character. That's what Wedge was.
Because he wasn't like Lando Calrissian in episode 5, but he had like some significance.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, and then Vader, has Luke in his sights, and then you hear the use the Force, Luke, let go. And then sure enough, Luke takes off the binoculars, and then everyone back at base is like, "Are you all right, Luke?" And then Luke's like, "Oh yeah, I'm fine." Vader's like, "I have you now." And then not one ship is out, but two ships are out. And it's like, who is it? Han Solo? And then sure enough, Han Solo's in excited, like, "Yeah, man, we're here. Take it out. Let's go home and celebrate."
Screw that TIE pilot, man. He could have taken one for the team, but instead he tried to save himself and in the process crashed into his boss. And that's what caused that whole fiasco.
Well, we all knew that Vader wasn't going to get killed off. They had to write him off somehow.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, because then the Death Star blows up. Tarkin obviously goes with it. But yeah, they show that Vader gets away. So it's like, okay, well, Vader's still out there. Like that's, he's still a villain then for the upcoming movies.
But bro, the music again, bro, when Luke is about to destroy the Death Star and Tarkin's, just sitting there patiently. It's like, okay, this is going to be an epic finish here. This is going to be epic. And then sure enough, the Death Star it exploded and it looks like fireworks, man. And Vader, is like steering off into the other side of space. And it's like, great shot, kid. That was 1 in a million. Han Solo, iconic again. And
then Obi-Wan says that same line that he tells him before he last saw him, right? Like, the Force will be with you always. And then they get down back to Yavin and they're all celebrating. Han gets over there and he's like, well, I wasn't going to let you take all the credit and take the reward.
Oh, bro. R2 took him for the team, bro. Vader shot his own droid.
Yes, he did.
Oh, I can't help but keep thinking of the Family Guy special, bro. When Cleveland is R2D2, man.
Yeah. Oh
And then
my gosh, yeah.
he gets shot, and he's just swearing. I can't stop thinking of that.
Okay,
Man.
I think, dude, make a note of that. Those movies we're listing as movies of potential movies to talk about here on the podcast because those movies are funny as shit.
We should talk about them, man. Honestly,
100%, we're gonna talk about them at some point, man. I love them.
But yeah, no, watching R2 get shot again, I just keep thinking of Cleveland. Just yelling and be like, "Bro, you shot me." With some colorful words that I'm not gonna bring up.
Yeah, for sure. Oh my gosh, yeah. And then they all, they go to the celebration or whatever, right? Like, oh, they've won the iconic John Williams theme in there, the da 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 da. I love that one too. And they're all walking to get their medals or whatever, and R2's all happy for everybody.
Poor Chewie, man. He didn't get a medal.
Yeah, Chewie never got a medal. Screw Chewie, I guess, for being a side character or whatever. I don't know, but he's like one of the mains, so yeah, why couldn't we get him a medal?
My only complaint is, Chewie walked up with Luke and Han, and he technically did fly the Falcon, to help assist Luke.
He was the co-pilot.
Like, guys, is there not a medal big enough to put around Chewie's neck? Because I'm generally curious.
Yeah, right. Like, oh my gosh. And then it took them how many years or whatever for Chewie to finally get a medal or whatever, and they only did that because enough people were complaining about Chewie not getting a medal.
It wasn't as iconic. There was
no, it wasn't. There was not much to it. No.
And there wasn't, a big crowd cheering for him like Luke and Han. It was just like, here you go, Chewie. Sorry for the, how many years.
Yeah, here you go, Chewie. Yeah, we're just going to do this to try and shut people up now. Thank you. Sorry about that.
I can't wait to talk about that new trilogy. I cannot wait to talk about that with you.
Oh, we're gonna get there too. We're definitely gonna get there with those movies. And yeah, the movie just ends right with everybody celebrating. All our heroes are together and stuff. Good stuff.
It's a classic movie, man. No matter when or where you watch it, it's always a classic in my eyes.
Yeah, no, for real. It's this movie sets up an entire lore. An entire mythology of the space opera and the Jedi and space, the Sith and all these different aliens and the rebellion and all these different things. It's crazy. Well, DJ's fixing his computer real quick. I will just touch on something too, when it comes to the whole lore of Star Wars, right? You see some of the side characters in this show. You see people like Wedge Antilles, right? And he becomes a character that they put in a lot of different Star Wars projects today and stuff. You'll see him in some of the video games, some of the TV shows. Even General Dodonna is another one, right? The general that was, going over the plans with everybody for how they were going to attack the Death Star. He's another guy that they've put in different things like Star Wars Rebels. And yeah, it's just again, this whole idea of building a world and this is the start of that and leading to so many other things down the line that they could do. And the idea that there was going to be more Star Wars to me was such an incredible thing. Oh my gosh, there's 6 movies. I can't wait to watch through all of these. And I remember definitely being confused. Why are we starting with episode 4? Were you like that? You start with episode 4 too? Yeah. And
yeah,
of
they
course,
started.
Yes. So, and obviously, when you go through and watch it, you understand it a little bit more.
Bro, just imagine if we time traveled back to when Star Wars first started and told someone about how the new trilogy would look like.
Yeah, man. Oh gosh. Well,
just imagine telling them about how the new trilogy would look.
If you know what, at that point, DJ, we might as well take it a step further. Let's take the time machine. Let's go to George Lucas and tell him not to sell Star Wars to Disney. That's what we got to do.
After the New Hope, is, going good, in Hollywood and, all that. We should go and tell George Lucas, don't sell this company. Please don't sell it.
Keep working on Clone Wars. Make 10 seasons of it, please.
Personally, they made 9 seasons of Arrow, Green Arrow. They could make 10 seasons of Clone Wars.
Easily. I think it was James Arnold Taylor said in an interview recently, I think it was with Star Wars Theory 2, that there were going to be, oh my gosh, now I don't even remember the number that he said, but it was going to be a couple hundred episodes of the Clone Wars that they were going to do. So it's like, man, like I would have liked to have seen all that, you know. All right, we are getting a little off track here, though. I
Yeah,
think
we
we'll
are.
kind of wrap this up here. But like overall, you guys, A New Hope, like what a fantastic movie. And as someone is like a longtime Star Wars fan as myself, and like you, DJ, like
Yes.
this is the perfect start to a franchise that you could possibly have.
My goodness, I don't want it to end, man, but all good things have to come to an end.
Yeah, man. But hey, it comes to an end for now, man. But look, we've got we gonna be here. We gonna be doing like an episode of this every month. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
So
yeah.
maybe we'll leave people with this, right? Like episode 2 of the podcast, we're gonna be talking about The Empire Strikes Back.
Iconic movie, and cannot wait to discuss it with you guys. Subscribe to the channel, tell your friends, and spread the word out too, because this is an exciting new direction we all do not want you to miss. Thank you.
Any support that you guys can give us with this podcast is greatly appreciated. It involves, liking the podcast, sharing it with people clicking the hype button as well. I've heard is also like a new thing now that helps with like YouTube creators and stuff. Is if you click the hype button, it like gives the video a bunch of points, and then if you get like a certain number of points, it like puts it in a system that helps people find it easier. So like the more that people do this stuff, the better it's going to be to help us out in spreading the word about this podcast.
For sure. And such a good discussion, man. Thank you for getting together, and it was a great discussion, man.
No, man, I trust me, I enjoy doing this with you, and that's why we're doing this podcast, because like you and I would do this off air. You know what I'm saying? Like if we didn't have the camera on us right now, like we would still do this. So the fact that like we're doing this now, like this is like I enjoy doing this with you.
Oh, it's so fun, man. Like we could honestly be talking about this till midnight.
Yeah, for sure. But I think for now, you guys, that is going to wrap us up for today. And again, remember, episode 2, this isn't all just Star Wars stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like eventually we will be doing other things, but we figure this is a Star Wars channel. We want to start out with, the Star Wars movies. And especially since I haven't made too many videos talking about the original trilogy, this is definitely something that I wanted to do. So we appreciate your guys' support, and hopefully you guys are excited for the next episode.
For sure. Take it easy, guys. Stay safe out there, and we'll see you guys next time.
That's my line.
We're switching it up.
We're switching it up, apparently. See you guys.